The U.S. government will track police shootings that lead to fatalities for the first time ever. The Justice Department will be the body that will, of course, ask for this information through local police departments throughout the country and keep the data in order to figure out whether or not there's any wrongdoing in the country. Now, the U.S. Department of Justice, for the first time, will keep a comprehensive database of fatal officer-involved shootings. Until now, the FBI has maintained a data set which includes information about fatal police shootings. But there were issues with that. Local law enforcement agencies can voluntarily submit homicide statistics, including incidents involving police, to state police departments, which in turn send the data to the FBI. As you can understand, because of the word voluntarily in that sentence, oftentimes the information never gets reported to the state, and so it never gets to the FBI. Right now, what the DOJ is saying is that you have to report everything directly to us, and we will keep that information. Any police department that fails to comply will lose about 10% of its annual funding.
Damn.
Yeah.
So that's very serious. Okay, thank God. Now, I know sometimes people on the wrong side of issues don't want more information. So, for example, on gun control, the right wing literally stopped us from collecting data on whether guns lead to more violence.
Centers for Disease Control are not allowed to study the impact of our gun laws.
No, but
they're not allowed.
You don't want people to get information if you know you're on the wrong side.
Yeah.
If you're on the right side, I want you to have the information. So, okay, do I want you to know if 2 + 2 = 4? Yes, I do, because it actually does. I'm on the side of 4, so I want you to find out what the reality is. So here we're saying, hey, let's figure it out. Hey, maybe they'll find out that the police shootings are not happening as much as we think they are. Okay, well, that would be information we would want to know. Maybe they'll find out they are happening as much as we think they are. They're too prevalent. And maybe they'll find a solution so it doesn't happen anymore and less innocent people die. Wouldn't that be great? But for a lot of people, no. Let's keep our head in the sand. That's where it is. That's where it's wonderful. And more people die. Who cares? Who cares? But we protect our psychology. That's the most important thing.
For me, it goes beyond information. Of course, information is important. For me, it's about accountability, because people act as if, cops are like private entities that are not supposed to be public servants. They're public servants. Again, I've said this a million times. They're paid for by our taxpayer money. So when cops say that we shouldn't be allowed to film them with our phones, why? We pay your salaries. We should be able to film you. We should be able to hold you accountable. You're in a public place. You have no reasonable expectation of privacy, especially as a public servant. Secondly, I want to make sure that you're held accountable. I'm not saying that every cop is guilty and we got to treat them like criminals. It's like they're on probation. No, it just means that the local police departments have to report the officer-related fatal shootings to the DOJ, just to see if there are any trends that need to be mitigated, that need to be solved, that need to be addressed. If you're uncomfortable with that, then I don't know. It makes me wonder why. Why would you be uncomfortable with that?
So that's exactly right. The word you used is the one that they are most afraid of: accountability. You view it as a positive thing, partly because you pay their salaries and you like to make sure you're paying for the right thing.
Yeah.
And partly because you don't want innocent people being killed. And if we could prevent that, if we could find any way to prevent that, that would be wonderful. They view accountability as like, now they want the cops to not kill people. Yeah, if they're innocent, you're right. We want that. And since, especially because if we pay their salary, we are to some degree accountable. We're also accountable. So these are not somebody else's cops, they're our cops.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And by the way, every single person in the country is held accountable in their job. If they do something wrong, they're usually reprimanded for it, right? It's interesting how, the one job in the country where we give people the ability to shoot and kill individuals is somehow not supposed to have any accountability.
Like that's the one where they say, don't do any internal investigations. Oh, it's just political correctness. Could you imagine you decide to tell your boss, nah, I'm not going to do my report. You say, but wait a minute, you need to. You say, no, get off my ass. What's with this accountability nonsense, right? And then on top of that, imagine you murdered your coworker.
No, but that's the crazy thing. Like, I try to think of it in our terms, and it's like, I mean, I don't know how much trouble I would get into if I didn't fill out the year-end templates talking about what my goals are and whether or not I achieve them.
A lot of trouble.
But, I mean, you're expected to do it, right? And that's like the most serious offense, you know, that I could do. But there are consequences for it. With cops, it's like, I shot and killed someone, no accountability.
No, don't you dare look into it. My guess is if you shot and killed someone, somebody'd look into it. You know how the Young Turks beat CNN Online? With you guys, with members helping us to do it. You know what the members said?
Anybody can be beat.
And then we said, once we'd done it.
To all the non-believers. How did that? To all the non-believers. Especially you, Tom Jackson.
You know what? You guys become a member, you could be part of that team too. And I know what you're thinking.
Can't wait.
So go right now, tytnetwork.com/join.